Straight Life by Art and Lori Pepper. This is episode 3 of Straight Life. In episode 2, Art began clarinet lessons with Mr. Parry. Here's Art's narrative for episode 3. Mr. Parry didn't play very well, but he was a nice guy, short and plump, with a cherubic face, warm, happy-go-lucky. He had sparkling little eyes. You could never imagine him doing anything wrong or nasty or unpleasant. He invited me to his house for dinner a couple of times, and I met his wife. She liked me, and they had no children of their own, so she would send me candy that she made. Mr. Parry was like another father to me, and I used to love talking to him. That's what our lessons were. None of them had anything to do with the technicalities or the learning of music. It was just talking, having somebody to talk to. And I never had to practice. Just before Mr. Parry came, I'd get my clarinet out and run through the lesson from the previous week. He'd think I'd been practicing the whole time. When I did play, I played songs. I played what I felt. I didn't want to read anything or play exercises. My father lived nearby. He was working as a longshoreman, and he lived with a woman named Nellie as man and wife. He never married her. He'd visit us and pay the bills. When it was time for school, he'd give my grandmother money to get me a few clothes. He drank all the time, too. He used to get mean sometimes. He'd get loud and talk on and recite The Face on the Barroom Floor and all kinds of weird things. After I started playing the clarinet, my father would come and take me down to San Pedro to the bars. I've been there lately, and the place is all cleaned up. But at that time, down by the waterfront, the whole area was nothing but bars, and there were Slavonians, Italians, Germans. Almost every nationality known was in those bars. A few had entertainment, a beat strip show, but most of them were just places guys went to hang out and talk. They weren't the kind of bars women would go in or that hustlers were at. They were men's bars where they drink and talk about fishing and the waterfront and driving winches and their problems with management, to talk about the union. They were real tough guys. They were all my dad's friends. He would take me to several different bars, sit me up on the bar, and make me take out my clarinet and play little songs like Nola and Parade of the Wooden Soldiers. And I Can't Give You Anything But Love. The music goes round and round. Old Lang Syne. The guys would ask for other songs and I'd play them and they'd listen. My father would stand right by me and stare at them and nod his head like they better like it or he'd smack them in the mouth. And he was a big guy and he'd be drunk. I got the feeling that they did like it because I was his boy. They liked boys. I was his boy. That's Art's boy. He plays nice music. Yeah, nice boy. Play that thing, boy. They'd pat me on the back. They'd grab my arm and shake my hand, almost hurt my hand. They were so rough. You just keep it up, boy. You don't want to be like us. I was like their child, all their children. You keep that up and you won't have to do like we do. And they would have fingers missing, and some guys would have an arm gone. Things would drop on them, and they'd lose legs, feet, fingers. I could get away from that and be respectable and not have to get dirty and get hurt and work myself to death. And so they'd drop a dollar bill in my hand or 50 cents or a silver dollar. I'd end up with $15, $20 just from these guys. And my dad never took the money from me. He said, "That's yours. You earned that." I always felt scared before I played, but after I did it, I was proud, and my dad was proud of me. My grandmother was always talking about Dick, her younger son, the favorite. According to my dad, Dick never helped my grandmother at all, never brought her anything, never gave her any money. But she thought he was just great and went on and on about how good he was and how bad my dad was. My dad supported her. One day my dad came over and there was talk about paying some kind of insurance for her. He felt that Richard should pay part of it. My dad was drinking and he decided to go over and see Dick. Dickie boy, he called him. He just hated him. Dick was a plain-looking man. He had dull-colored hazel eyes. He was a dull person, nondescript and withdrawn. But he always felt that he was right. He always considered himself a good person. Maybe he was. My dad had got him a job as a longshoreman and had done nothing but good for him. But he said Dick had never shown any appreciation. We went over there, me and my dad. We went inside. He started talking to them. Dick's wife's name was Irma, and she was just like him, thin, with no beauty, dull, lightish hair, faded eyes. Everything was faded about both of them. My dad tried to reason with them, tried to find out if they would pay anything. Irma said, "No, she's taking care of your brat. You pay it." They got into a terrible argument. When they started hollering, I got scared. I ran out to the car, but they were getting so crazy, I felt something terrible was going to happen. So I ran back, grabbed my dad, and tried to pull him out of the house. I got him to the car, but he was too insane to drive. I opened the door and pushed him into the passenger side. He had just started teaching me how to drive. Dick ran out of the house with a big hammer, and when my dad saw him coming, he tried to get out of the car to get at him. But I started the car up, praying I could get it going, trying to hold on to my dad at the same time. He's screaming out the window at them, and Irma's just screaming on the lawn, and here comes Dick with his hammer. By a miracle, I was able to start the car. As Dick saw it moving, he threw, and I pulled out just as the hammer hit the window in the back. It hit right where my dad's head would have been and shattered the glass. We got away. I looked over at him and saw that he was cut. There was blood on his face, and he was still raging about what he was going to do to Dick. Then he stopped. I guess he realized what had happened, that I was driving the car and had possibly saved his life or stopped him from killing. He might have killed both of them. I drove back to my grandmother's house and she wasn't there. I took him inside. I led him into the house and made him go into the bathroom and sat him down on the toilet and got a wash rag. During the ride, he had looked at me while I was driving, and I felt that he was seeing me for the first time. And I felt really good that I had done something that was right. I wiped the blood off his face. He wasn't cut bad, and he looked at me. And that was the first time I ever felt I had reached him at all. I felt good about myself, and I felt that he loved me. Right after that, my grandmother came home and broke the spell. He looked at her and realized how she was. I realized how she was. He started raving at her about her Dickie boy. And I remember cussing her out myself, telling her that her Dickie boy wouldn't pay a penny, that he tried to kill my dad, that I would kill him, that she was an unfeeling, rotten, ungrateful bitch. She flipped out at both of us. She didn't care anything at all about him being cut. How dare you go over there and bother Richard and his wife? She kept at him, ranking him and goading him. And finally, he grabbed her and started to strangle her. Probably all his life, he'd wanted to kill her. She certainly deserved to be killed by him. And I had the feeling of wishing that he would kill her, thinking it would maybe free me. She wouldn't be there and something else would have to be done with me. Maybe he would have to take me to live with Nellie, who was warm and nice and feminine and smelled pretty. And so for this moment, I was hoping he'd kill her. But all of a sudden, I realized what would happen to him. So I grabbed him, and finally he let her go, and she ran screaming out into the street.